the toilets.
Like you're eating or mash. No, right.
Could be the. He's probably referring to something we said, but I can't think of it right now. We did say it's a machloikus. It's an argument. So we have a difference of opinion if this is considered grinding or not, for the obvious reasons that we just mentioned, right? So it's not clear if it's really considered grinding. But so what do we do? The way it's accepted is that we are strict. So generally speaking, we will be strict. We will consider mashing like grinding, and we won't do it. And if we will do it, how will we do it? Is there a way how to do it on Shabbos where we will be safe? It's not, we're going to say, okay, we do it in a certain way, and then that's good. We cover all opinions. Is there a way how to grind on Shabbos that is kosher, that is okay, that is not considered grinding? Anyone remembers?
Is it with the back of the spoon?
Correct. Very good. If you do it with the back of a spoon, back of a knife, the handle of the knife, do it in an unusual way that our chachamim, our sages allowed us to do. So that's an exception to the rule. You cannot do things in a different manner. But here we could, because it's called a shinui gadol. It's a highly unusual manner, and that is permitted. That's what we do for a baby on Shabbos. You want to give them banana, you want to mash it. You need to mash the banana. Infant, like it's a 6-month-old is starting to eat banana. So you mash it. You mash with the handle of the spoon. Okay, your name? Rivka Mendetska? Okay. And right? What's your name? Are you on the list? You're not on the list. Well, okay, could we have the two tables together as we usually do? So we have achtos, everyone's sitting together. You just move to the side and just move back. Question: Are you allowed to use an egg slicer on Shabbos? An egg slicer. You put in a hard-boiled egg, mash, and it slices the egg into nice slices.
No.
Are you allowed to do that on Shabbos? So we have no. What else? What other answers do we have? We have yes. That's it. Only two answers: yes or no. How many answers could it be, really? But which one is the right answer? That's really what the question is. Which one is the right answer? That's the tough part. Which one is the right answer? The right answer is that you're allowed to do it. What's the reason why you're allowed to do it?
Because it's cutting. It's like cutting.
It's like cutting. Let's back up for a moment and ask a different question. Could I take a fork and mash the egg? No.
Why?
Take a fork and just mash it. Make it too small.
Yeah.
Okay. So we did learn in the previous class about grinding very thin, but there's another rule that we mentioned, that the laws of grinding only apply to what? The halachas of grinding, generally speaking, don't apply to anything. Only applies to things that come from the ground. Right. So generally speaking, the halachas of grinding is only for things that come from the ground. That's why an egg There's no problem grinding it very, very thin. You could take a fork and mash it very thin. There's no issue. So why are we talking about an egg slicer? If it's anyways allowed, why do we even have to talk about it?
Because of the utensils.
Because if you're going to use a special utensil, then you're not allowed. You wouldn't be allowed to use a special utensil for grinding an egg. And even though it doesn't come from the ground, but if let's say there will be a special utensil that's designated for grinding. What's an example of a specialized utensil? We mentioned this. Maybe I didn't. I should mark it down. What's an example of a specialized utensil that's for something that does not come from the ground, but because it's a specialized utensil, you can't use it on Shabbos? For something that doesn't come from the ground. For cheese doesn't come from the ground. I'm allowed to cut cheese very, very thin. I can take a knife and cut the cheese thin, because it doesn't grow from the ground. But to use a grater, it's a specialized utensil, I'm not allowed. Get it? So a grater, anyone knows what a grater is? A grater, however, could help translate for those who don't understand.
I'll get a picture.
Huh? A grater.
I'll get a picture of it.
Picture is 1,000 words. Okay.
Like a cheese kind of.
Yeah, for grating tree. Yeah, cheese.
Can you to see?
Uh,
Yeah, no idea.
Yeah. So that's a grinding cheese. So that you can't use on Shabbos because it's specialized to grinding. But cheese doesn't grow from the ground. It doesn't matter, but it's a special utensil. That's why we spoke about the egg slicer. We said an egg slicer is not a specialized utensil for grinding per se. It's a slicer. It's a knife that cuts very well. It cuts into nice size slices. It doesn't cut it thin. That's not what the egg slicer does. It makes slices. See, every slice is pretty thick. So it's not considered specialized for grinding. That's why you're allowed to use an egg slicer on Shabbos. We mentioned there's an opinion that holds that towards the end of the last class, there is something that's already boiled, something that comes to the ground but it's already cooked. Let's say a sweet potato, it's boiled, it's very soft. According to some opinions, which is accepted, if it's so soft that it's very easy to mash, you just give it a press down, smush. You don't have to, there's no effort involved, right? Think about an avocado, and then think about a sweet potato that's very soft. The sweet potato is soft, you just mash, easy to mash. Whereas the avocado, you have to mash. So because it's soft, the cooking already softened it. So there, when you mash it, according to one opinion, it was a big authority, like Shlomo Zalman Auerbach from the big Rabbanim in Israel, he's not around anymore. He poskined that it's not called grinding because it's already so soft. What's the definition of grinding? Making it into small particles or mashing it could also be, but the cooking already mashed it. The Melaka is mashing. The cooking did it already. The cooking softened it. It's so soft that the mashing is just very soft. You very softly and gently, you just push down and the whole thing's going to mash. So he says it's not considered grinding. And that's an accepted opinion. Most probably there are some opinions that will be strict, but it's accepted. It's accepted that we could go by it. Okay. Let's see. We covered the basics that we did last time. Now we're going to start the next melaka, which is melaka of lush. 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 So there's a melaka called lush. Everyone knows what lush means? Lush is kneading. Kneading. English, it's spelled like this. Kneading. Kneading. In the Mishkan, they would do this Melaka of lush because they had these herbs. They had to dye the tapestries, the yediyos that covered the Mishkan. The roof of the Mishkan was different materials that were dyed with different colors. To get that dye was an herb that would grow. They would take the herb, they would grind it, they would mix it with water, make it into a mush. Then they would boil it in water. Then it would create a dye, D-Y-E, a dye, like a coloring. Yeah, you get what I'm saying? So they would take the herb, grind it, which is teichen, grinding, so teichen come. And then they would mix it with water and make it like you bake challah, you take flour and water and you mush it together. Yeah, it becomes a dough. So they would mush the ground herb together with water, and it would become one thing. So lush is actually the opposite of teichen. Teichen is grinding, separating. Lush is taking flour, or in this case, the ground herbs, which is like a powder, put it together with water, and creating one mass, one entity. So that's the definition of lush. This is the Melaka of lush. There's two parts to the Melaka. One part is just putting the ingredients together. Just the fact that you take water and putting it into the flour. Using now the example of flour and water, on Shabbos that wouldn't really go well because you're not allowed. But I mean, what I mean to say is because flour is actually muktzeh. It's muktzeh because you can't bake with it because you can't make a dough. It's the result of the malacha. But in any case, just make you aware that flour is muktzeh. But for now, that's the example we're using. If someone on Shabbos will take flour and put it together with water, even if he doesn't mix it together, just the fact that he puts it together, puts flour and pours water, he's not even mixing it. That's already a malacha. Because that itself it's already starting to coagulate, or it's starting to, maybe coagulate is not the right word, but it's starting to blend together, it's starting to connect already. Then when you go ahead and you combine it, you start mixing it together, that's also the malacha. So there's actually two opinions. What is the malacha? One in the Gemara, one opinion says that the malacha is just combining the ingredients. That itself is the malacha. Putting both ingredients, the liquid and the flour, the powder together, that's lush. The other opinion says, no, that's not luscious after you put it together, you start mixing it together. So there's a difference of opinion in what is the prohibition of lush. And the halacha is that both are prohibited. You can't, if you put it together, you transgress, and if you mix it together, you transgress. Both are prohibited. So what's happening with the Melaka of lush? You are connecting solid and liquid. So you want to use that term. With the flour and the liquid, they become one. But there's also another definition for lush. Some say that the Melaka of lush will also apply to even when you're not creating a new entity. See, in the example that we're giving up, what we just discussed now, lush, what you're actually doing is you're creating something. You're taking flour and water, or powder and water, or baby cereal and water, whatever, any type of flour particles with liquid, and you connect it together, it becomes one. But what about if, let's say you have mashed potatoes, and then you want to add in some oil. to improve the taste, that the potatoes should taste better, you're going to add in mayonnaise, you're going to pour in some oil, and the oil is going to blend into the mashed potatoes. Is this considered kneading? Some opinions say no, because you're not creating anything new. The mashed potatoes is there. The way we explained it till now, the definition of lush is if you take flour, powder, and liquid, and you connect it together. But here you already have potatoes, mashed potatoes. You're putting in oil. The oil is not, what is the oil doing? The oil is bringing the potatoes together, right? Usually, lush, the way we simply understand it is, when you put water into flour, the water brings the flour together to become one. Over here, when you're pouring oil into the potatoes, the oil is not making, the potatoes is like separate, it's like a liquid, and the oil brings the potatoes together. No, potatoes is already together. So the oil is not accomplishing that, but the oil is becoming part of the entity. So the oil is coming into the entity of the potatoes, and it's becoming part of it. And that is why there is an opinion, and this opinion is accepted in halacha, that you're not allowed to do that in Shabbos. You can't just pour oil into potato salad, let's say, mashed potatoes. You want to add some oil because it's connecting, it's becoming part of the potato salad, or the mashed potatoes, that is. So according to, probably there are opinions that are lenient, but many opinions are going to be strict and say you're not allowed to do that because you're accomplishing something. Why are you putting it in? Why are you putting in the oil? For nothing? To make it taste better. So there's an accomplishment. So there's an accomplishment that the oil is coming in. The oil is becoming part of the whole mitzvah of the potatoes. It's connecting. It's blending into the potatoes. That is lush. Okay? So you see what's happening with lush, how the two different types of lush, which both are prohibited. However, if you already have an existing mixture, and let's say you already add in, the oil is added in already, everything is good. Now you want to add an extra. The extra is going to make it, now it's going to make it loose. If you already have, when you don't have any oil added into the potato, there's no, let's say a potato salad, there's no mayonnaise, and you're adding in mayonnaise. So the mayonnaise is blending into the potatoes. That's the problem. If you already have mayonnaise in the potato salad, the mashed potatoes, and you want to add in more, now, or you want to add in more oil, what's going to happen now? It's going to become loose. It's going to become more liquidy. Instead of becoming solid, it's going to become more liquefied. Now you're loosening it. Now that's not lush, because now you're just making it looser. So if you're making it looser than before, then that is not prohibited. Looser means more, how do you say loose? Huh? You say? יותר רך, remember the word. Yeah, יותר רך, so the way. Okay. Now, many times people make potato salad or mashed eggs on Shabbos, egg salad. Mashed eggs, and we said there's no problem mashing eggs. You can mash eggs, we said, right? What's the problem mashing eggs? It's not grinding, it doesn't come from the ground. Now you want to put egg salad, you want to put mayonnaise into the eggs and mix the eggs with the mayonnaise. So that's allowed on Shabbos. Could you put mayonnaise into eggs on Shabbos?
Yes. We don't know. No, I see.
No. No, we
So I
just,
said no.
Right.
What about in your plate?
One second. Students in your plate, out of your plate.
About to eat it, maybe there's a difference. No?
That's for, I don't know if that's gonna make a difference unless you do it in a specific way. I mean, maybe you're referring to something specific, but let's discuss this
Okay.
in itself. We just said, we just discussed taking solid, flour, and liquid and connecting it together. It's blending together. You have eggs that's mashed. You're putting in mayonnaise. Now you're mixing it together. So you're connecting solid, eggs, and mayonnaise, which is a liquid. It's not allowed. We just said that's you're not allowed. We said if you want to add an extra, it's already in, you already put it in before Shabbos, you want to make it, you want to liquefy, you're going to put an extra, it's going to make it just looser. Now you're loosening the mixture, that's okay, because now you're just loosening it.
I have a question. And if I already did the egg salad, but I have more gas, so I need to put more potatoes and more mayonnaise and all.
You have a salad, what do you have, potato salad?
Yes, but
You
I
wanna
need
put in-
more potato salad or egg salad, whatever. And so I can put more in this one that I already have or not? Because I'm not spraying. I mean, I just put in more.
You know what, let's finish the halacha about Excel, and then we'll see if how your question fits into, if we can answer it. Okay, so is that clear? You cannot mix mayonnaise into eggs because that's exactly the malach we're discussing. That's lush.
And eggs and mayonnaise.
Eggs into mayonnaise, same.
Yes.
Right, you can't do that. If you already did it before Shabbos, now you want to add more mayonnaise, going to make it looser, then that's okay. Now, but there is a way how you could do it. And that is if you're using large pieces, large
Eggs?
chatichot gedolot. If you're using big pieces of eggs, big pieces of potato, so when they are mixing with the mayonnaise, you see the pieces. Then that's not lush. Lush is when it becomes one thing, it connects into one thing. When you're seeing big pieces, so you're mixing it in a way where you see the big pieces sticking out, that's not lush. Because you see them, they're individualized pieces. Lush means when they become like one. Become united like one. But when they're larger pieces, that's not in the category of lush. So if you're going to if you want to do it on Shabbos, you want to mix eggs with mayonnaise, you make large piece of potato. So when you're mixing it together, it's mixed in a way we see big pieces. If it's big pieces, then it's okay. So here's a question that comes up, and then you want to, okay, now, then you finish with Excel. What was your question? You want to add in?
You already answered it. Yeah.
Okay, good. Very good. You have radishes. You have sliced radishes, or for that matter, cucumbers, sliced very, very thin, which we know on Shabbos we discussed, you don't slice it very thin. And you want to mix it with vinegar. So over here, it's sort of, it's not a real blend like flour and water, but because it's very thin and you're mixing it with vinegar, it becomes an issue of lush. Even though it's not meant to connect together, it's not something that usually connects together. But if you remember, we said the Melaka of Lush, there's two parts to the Melaka. One is just combining the ingredients, and one is mixing it together. According to one opinion, it doesn't even matter that it's not something that usually connects together. That's not meant to become one, but it doesn't matter. The fact is, if it does connect together, that itself is a malacha, just the fact that you're putting it together. So just the fact that you're putting it next to each other, and it does connect a little bit together, even though it's not the derech, it's not the way, it's still going to be prohibited. I'm not going to go into it too much because it's not practical. Shulchan discusses different types of things that are not meant, like you have, for example, sand with water, or things that's not meant, certain types of flour that aren't not a good, not the regular flour that doesn't really blend together properly. So it's not so practical, but over here, this is one example of something that it's not necessarily the derech. That you take radishes, thin pieces of vegetables, and you blend it together with vinegar. But it is blending there because it's very, very thin. And if you're mixing it together, there is a blend over there. And just the fact that you're putting it there, that itself could become an issue. But the halacha is that it's allowed as long as you don't do it vigorously. So if you do it, but you don't do it vigorously, because if you do it vigorously, then it's going to become an issue of kneading, because some opinions say that is considered kneading, because it is somewhat blending together, though it's not blending together like a regular blend, but it's thin. And the liquid blends very well into the thin, those thin pieces of radishes. So you should not blend it, so you should not mix it, because you shouldn't do it strong. You shouldn't go like you usually do, like you usually mix it very strong, like you make a salad. So if you are adding vinegar into a salad that's very, very thin pieces, you should not do it vigorously, just do it lightly. Sometimes you have a bottle of tchina, the oil settles. Question is, are you allowed to mix it again? You open up a can and everything's settled down, and on the top it's very loose, it's very watery. The peanut butter, the tchina, the bottom is all the thickness, and you want to mix it together. Are you allowed to mix it on Shabbos? It seems like you're kneading. Everyone understands the question? You open up a can of tchina, a bottle of tchina, and the whole thickness is on the bottom, and the top is very loose. Usually, you open up a new bottle or a can, you have to mix it with a knife to mix the top to the bottom to the top. You know what I'm talking about? The oil, yeah, the oil. The oil is settled on top.
You're not allowed to do it?
Are you allowed to mix in a Shabbos?
Yes.
Yes. Why? Because it was already needed before.
Yeah.
Already needed before. It just settled. So you're just putting it back to the way it was. So you're allowed to do it.
Very tricky.
Yeah, it is. It is. Absolutely is. That's why we need to learn. That's why you're here. Now, there is a way how to mix with a shinui. And just like we had by grinding, we showed you a way how to mix with a shinui, to grind with a shinui with the handle of a knife. But when it comes to lush kneading, we also have a way how to do with a shinui in an unusual way. And that is that we do everything in reverse. Now, why is it allowed in reverse? Usually we don't allow you to do malacha in reverse. You can't usually do malacha with a shini. I can't shut off the light switch with my elbow, because we are dealing with something that's only usher rabbinically. Being that we're going to be discussing now a case of lush that's prohibited rabbinically. Now, let's back up for a second. Is lush a rabbinical prohibition or a biblical prohibition? Lush, needing, is biblical, is min haTorah. The Torah now do lush, but not every type of lush is min haTorah. Which type of lush is min haTorah? Only when it's a thick batter. When it's thick. There's belila ava and there's belila raka. This is what we have to understand. There's belila ava, ava means thick, and there's belila means a mixture. Belila means a mixture. Ava means thick, a thick mixture. This is translation of ava. Raka means loose. According to the Torah, the Melaka of lush is only when it's a thick mixture, thick. But if it's loose is loose. Like when you make for a baby, you make baby cereal. It's very loose. It's you could move it around. You could almost pour it out. It's not thick. It's very loose. You get what I'm saying? It's loose to the extent that you could move it around with the plate. You take the bowl and it's going to spill out. If it's loose, is that allowed? Is that considered lush? Midrabanan, it's considered lush. Min haTorah, it's okay, but midrabanan, you're still not allowed to do it. In the case where it's only prohibited midrabanan, so then our sages, our chacham told us that they're going to allow us to do it in a specific way. If we do it not in a regular way, if we reverse the regular way of doing it, so we're going to reverse the order of how we put in the ingredients. Because remember, there's two steps in the Melaka of lush, because there's two opinions, and we go by both opinions. One step is how we put in the ingredients. Because one opinion says, just the fact that you put the ingredients together, that's already the Melaka. So we're going to reverse the order of how we put in the ingredients. We usually put in the solid and then the liquid. So let's say we want to make baby cereal. We usually put in the cereal and then the liquid. First put in the liquid and then put in the cereal. So reversing the order. Why are we reversing the order? Because according to one opinion, the malacha is just in combining the ingredients without even mixing it. Just the fact that putting both ingredients in the same bowl together, that's already the malacha. So we're going to make a change in how we do it. And why is it good enough to make a shinui? Because it's only midrabanan. Why is it midrabanan? Why is it only midrabanan? Because it's belila raka, it's loose. Because it's a loose batter, so it's only midrabanan. But there's two parts to the malacha, because there's two opinions. One opinion says just the fact that we combine the ingredients in the same bowl together, that's already the malacha. So midrabanan, it's going to be a malacha even though it's loose. So if I'm combining baby cereal with liquid, that itself is already a malacha. Just the fact that I'm putting it together in the same bowl, that's already a malacha. Min haTorah if it's thick, midrabanan even if it's loose. Because I'm just the fact that I'm combining it together. Now I'm doing it loosely. I'm not going to make it thick. So it's only a rabbinical prohibition. It would be a rabbinical prohibition if I would put it in the regular way. So Chacham tell us, hey, it's midrabanan. we're going to be lenient. We're going to allow you, we're going to give you leeway, and we're going to tell you that if you do it not in a regular way, so you're going to reverse the ingredients, usually put in the baby cereal and then the liquid. Now you're going to put in the liquid and then the baby cereal. Now you did this melacha with a shinoi, and it's a rabbinic, it's not talking about minat Torah, midrabanan. Now you're good. Now that's the first part of the melacha. The second part of the, again, we're saying two parts because we have two opinions. What is the melacha? And we keep by both opinions. The second part is the actual mixing. So now the mixing is a melacha. Now, which melacha is this going to be minat Torah or midrabanan? If you would do it in the regular way, midrabanan, because it's a bli l'raka, it's a loose mixture. So we're going to tell you to mix it not in a regular way. Don't mix it with a spoon in a regular way. Take the back of the spoon, like we had by grinding. Take the back of the spoon, the handle of the spoon, the handle of the knife, and mix it not in a regular way. Now you're doing it with the shina, you're not doing it in a regular way. Now you're doing something that's losh needing, which is midrabanan. It's a rabbinical prohibition because it's a miloraka, it's a loose batter. So Chacham is saying, okay, you could do it, you do it with a shinui in an unusual way, and we allow you to do this. So this is how you could do lush on Shabbos.
So Blila Ava we don't.
Huh?
With Blila Ava we don't.
Blila Ava, there's no way to do it. There could be a way how to do it. It's not, there could be situations, but it's not practical. If there are certain things that is not the derech, it's not the derech to mix anyways. So with there could be a way, according to some opinions, how to do it with a shini, but it's not practical to talk about because we're going to do it anyways. But generally, so practically speaking, for the things that we need to, the foods that we are looking for to do on Shabbos, Lila Ava, you're not going to have Lila Ava on Shabbos. You won't be able to do it on Shabbos. Because if you're doing a thick mixture, then it's minat Torah. Okay, any questions on this? Okay. No.
And the syrup that will be is not for the babies, we can.
What's this?
The syrup that will be.
I'm not hearing you.
Cereal.
Cereal.
But not for the baby.
We gave an example of baby cereal, yeah.
I know, but the number one we can.
Not those, but the ones that we had. Cornflakes, that's it?
Yes.
Okay.
Cornflakes and
No.
Okay.
that's not a problem. You're not making a blila, you're not
I
mixing
know
it.
things together, it's not becoming.
You're just eating
But
it.
if you want for example, 10 minutes.
If you-
If that's your intention, that's what you want to do, then maybe there's a shiloh, but no one is looking to do that. You're eating it and it's it. You're not looking to blend it together.
Thank you.
Yeah, Shabbos, everyone.
Good morning, everybody. There's hot cocoa and marshmallows downstairs.
Ah,
The snow.
To cover the snow?
We're coming through the snow. Covered.
Amazing. Walnut, please come. We
It's slower. Hi, how are you? Good. Boy. Hey, you're back.
Hello.
Right here? She's got
Check who's here.
Great. I didn't do that part.
Let's keep it by that.
So
Like,
the
you
baby
do
comes
masala, you make the dough, stay in the thing. You know, it's a thing.
Oh, you wanted to
It's
say
like
to
that
Michelle.
They, like, a lot of women,
I just need to see.
they.
So if you already-
Yeah. They bring a lot of- Like the whole thing, yeah. Wow. Some you don't even know it, like you don't know that there's parties, real parties and all the time. Like my cousin, because she got
Thank you,
married,
Rabbi.
that was her
Shabbos.
party, she took someone to town. And
Who's
there's a
that
whole
on it?
show of it.